as you get further down the Rockefeller Rothschild plot. And the plot ultimately back in the day was called the business plot. It's called the Cold War in the 60s. But it's a way of transferring ownership of mineral rights and securities of historic companies, all while doing it covertly. So as there's more and more damage, more and more death, more and more illness, more and more fraud, and Social Security just running out, we blame each other and want to fight each other instead of knowing who the real enemy is. Set of insurance bundles that were incorporated, when you believe, in the state of Ohio, I believe, as nonprofits back in the turn of the century, as nonprofit mutual companies. And wouldn't you believe one of them was actually Nationwide? The reason Nationwide was a cornerstone of the bundle is Nationwide, on the other part of its business, had a bank, an international bank. It would be the Farmers Bank and Trust. So Nationwide, of all insurance companies, was a pivotal target of the Rockefellers and Rothschilds for a lot of reasons. First of all, it was the world's first and largest insurer. It began as the Farm Bureau Insurance, so it held title to 100% of American farms, including the George Washington land patent. But then the Farm Bureau had married the Kennedys of Ohio, who held title to coal seams 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that represents 85% of U.S. coal that we have in our entire country, right? Right there in their state. So this is a massive target, everybody, because we're talking about 89 to 90%, and really our 10%, the other 10%, it's already of our energy, it's already been. Then, if they take over the farms and they convert that land to solar farms, and then data centers, we're screwed. They've controlled our food sources. They control all of our energy. They control our natural resources, aka water now. So it's my family who actually had, from an Ohio perspective, surveyed the Ohio River water basin and then the Muskegon watershed district, the entire Muskegon watershed district. And it was titled to their trust so that no politician could ever sell it to foreign oil. It's not good when it happens. Remember when the Cuyahoga River caught on fire? That was a part of the 60s plot. That's what happens when it's in motion. But let's go back to these nonprofit mutuals. Nonprofit mutuals. This article here says, British-owned power player insurer at the center of shadow fleet.
Last Christmas, 3 very different tankers completed voyages that would expose an unexpected node in the global sanctions system. The tanker Yug slipped out of Qingdao after offloading 2 million barrels of Iranian crude. Near the Arctic, another vessel carrying Russian crude steamed toward India. And off Malaysia, a third tanker discharged Iranian oil. Different owners, different operators, different destinations, but a single common thread. All 3 had links to Maritime Mutual, a small New Zealand insurer that, according to a Reuters review of shipping and insurance records, had provided protection to vessels moving sanctioned cargoes. Maritime Mutual, formerly the Maritime Mutual Insurance Association, is run by 75-year-old Paul Rankin and family members. For more than 2 decades, the group has insured a range of commercial shipping, from tugs to ferries. But Reuters reporting, based on thousands of documents and more than 24 interviews, shows the firm also provided coverage to vessels within the so-called shadow fleet. Tankers that conceal sanctioned cargoes by falsifying locations, changing names, and turning off automatic trackers. That coverage matters because in shipping, insurance is not optional. Without protection and indemnity P&I cover, a tanker is effectively dead in the water. Reuters' review found Maritime Mutual had at some point insured almost 1 in 6 of the shadow fleet tankers later sanctioned by Western governments. The scale uncovered by Reuters and the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air is striking. Using leaked trader emails, port and registry data, and commercial trade databases, Reuters compiled a list of 231 tankers Maritime Mutual had covered since 2018. CREA concluded that 130 of those vessels had carried Iranian or Russian energy products after sanctions were imposed, and, by commodity value estimates, Maritime Mutual insured tankers had moved at least $18.2 billion of Iranian energy and $16.7 billion of Russian energy since sanctions regimes began.
British-owned power player insurer at the center of Shadow Fleet storm. Police raid offices after high-profile investigation puts marine carrier in the spotlight. A small insurer operating from an unassuming office block in Auckland has found itself at the center of a geopolitical storm. Marine Mutual Insurance has provided cover to vessels, insurance backing to vessels transporting billions of dollars, billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of oil. It says it's Iranian and Russian oil, often of defiance of sanctions. Nearly 1 in 6 tankers sanctioned by Western authorities carried Maritime Mutual insurance. Industry observers describe the firm as a major power player in the shadow shipping market. Its cover allowing sanctioned vessels to continue operating on an international route despite bans imposed by the United States and the European Union and Britain.